Welcome to my danmei collection. This is not all, I just around me. The idea is not just to show you all the books I own, it's to say why I decided to read it, what got interested me, because to be honest, I would not read a lot of this just based on description. Actually, I'm not sure I read description for many of these. I read most of them because I saw some memes, I saw someone joking about it, I saw someone describing a dynamic between main characters, and that's what got me hooked. I also saw people complaining, and there are reasons not to read some of these. So I will talk, I will shortly introduce what it's about, but I also will talk who I think it's for. This Little Mushroom, the original publisher got closed, but Seven Seas is republishing it, and I wouldn't read it because from description it's apocalyptic type of story. Basically, magnetic poles of Earth disappeared, humankind nearly wiped out by cosmic radiation, and then everything starts mutating and it devouring each other and humans. And basically we are reading about state where there is only few strongholds of humanity left, and people need to go outside to get some resources, but there is high chance of getting infected by mutation, and there are judges in this city which if you caught with mutation you are killed because it's the only way to save everyone else, and there is a head judge that can kill without any notice. So, to be honest, I don't like apocalyptic stories. They are often too sad. The situation is always, even if the main characters somehow survive, the general vibe of living, even if they survive this situation, they might not survive next one, so what's the point? And it's just sad and depressing. However, first of all, there is very beautiful illustration to this book. Not in this book, there are no illustration in this edition, but in general there is, I think, manga or something like that. Anyway, very pretty, that got me interested. Second of all, the second main character, there is a romantic plot, but as many, by the way, other danmeis, romance between main character is not the key of the story. It's more like a thread behind the story, and there is something else going on, usually with political or detective-y element. In this case, the key element is what's going on in the city, and we see that actually the situation becomes worse. They attacked at some point, they lose something, and it seems that humanity will be about to wiped out, and will they figure out finally in the last second how to survive. And usually I would think it would be too stressful, but a bit a spoiler. It's not spoiler, but it's more a vibe is quite calm. I cried, I really want to know what's going on, but it felt like when we introduced to the city, yes, it's not the best situation, but people are living in the apartment, they're going to work. So situation is not good, but people survive. And yeah, we see that there are certain aspects that definitely show that it's apocalyptic world, and things become worse. But every time it becomes worse, we introduce the hint that actually they might solve it. And then they don't. And things become, and you live with this hope that everything will be solved, and it is. But another reason, I think, are two main characters because they're so calm. One of the main characters is this head judge. So we are shown from the very beginning, people don't trust that he actually does his job. They are pretty sure he just kills people left and right. He's actually much more complex character than this second character. It's just really hard to introduce without making it sound absurd, and to be honest, maybe it was the reason I started reading, but it's actually very adult topic. So it's a mushroom. So in this mutated world, there are mushrooms. They just vibe there, and as regular mushrooms, if someone dies nearby, they eat it. Yes, that's what mushrooms do. And basically the guy from the city dies near one mushroom, and he absorbs him and gets his memories, or some of his memories. He doesn't know everything, but some of it, and he gains ability to look like him. So he used to be a mushroom, now he looks like a person. He's still a mushroom. And I think that's important that he a bit clueless, but I usually hate such characters because they often too naive, they often a butt of a joke, they often just irritating, like just get your act together. Here it's not like that. Yes, he actually doesn't know how word works, but he gets in the city, he finds his job, he finds... By the way, why he goes into the city? Because unlike some other mushrooms, he has only one spore. It's like a seed mushrooms give for procreation, and his was stolen. So he need to get it back because like it's like biological. What mushrooms do, they live and then they need to procreate. How can you do that without your spore? And which is a part that is more hard to explain without cracking. And their dynamic and their whole situation where there is this like detective part, like will it solve situation, will we figure out why this is happening, and also this aspect of there are not much like romance happens. They're not like kiss in this and like sleep in this and go on a date, like they're in an apocalyptic world, but we clearly see that they care for each other and in the end they are together. So absolutely recommend. This is one of those books that are very hard to understand from the description or decide to read from the description. But I think it would be enjoyed, even if it wouldn't be for you 5 stars, it would be enjoyed by anyone to some degree. Unless you're absolutely against anything fiction, then probably not. Next, I think I will talk about 3 novels that were started for English translation of danmei, and for many people it was their first introduction and they're by the same author. I will start from this. I think this is the most easy to read as a first novel. A lot of other danmeis are very dark, there is a lot of suffering, there is also a lot of weird types of relationships. This one is about guts and doing right, and if you're doing right leads to not good results, does it count? So basically one of main characters, he lived already for 800 years. He ascended as a god, so become a god for a 3rd time. But while in the past he was a prince, and when he first ascended he was like very valued and very loved god. But now he's poor, no one really knows about him, he doesn't have any believers, he's believed to be god of unfortune. And when he ascends, his ascending destroys some stuff, and he's asked to help solve some problems as a way to repay, because he has no money. He collects scraps to pay for his life. He's 800-year-old god, and yeah. And when he starts uncovering this, a lot of things come to the front, including his past. And other character is, I don't remember how they translated it. He is not a demon, evil spirit. I don't remember how they translated, but I think you got the gist. Who actually in love with this guy for 800 years. And while there is not a lot of like romance, as in typical romance, going on a date and admitting that your feelings to each other compared to the amount of detective or like solving stuff, it's very nice from that point of view also. However, one of the main themes of this is that our main character and some other situations wants to do right things. He wants to save everyone. He wants to at least attempt to go against the fate to help people. However, we see like multiple times that it ends up worse, including for him himself. And I will not spoiler, but it's actually very fun to read. I think it's the most like for everyone story. It might not be your favorite story ever written, but it's very enjoyable, and I think it's a great entrance to the genre. And another book, which again for me it's very hard to explain, it's Grandmaster Demonic Cultivation. I know that a lot of people read it because there was a TV series, And both TV series and how it's often described focus much more on relationship of two main characters, which are adorable. I love them. One is a genius, but he's not like he's a guard of rich cultivation family and not really their son, and he's like his living situation not the best. Another guy is like from this like the best, the most virtuous sect, but he barely talk. So their relationships and the interactions are great to follow, but the story itself is not about that really. Basically, the story starts as like the very first sentence: rejoice because Wei Wuxian, main character, is dead. And the story actually, we start following that he's resurrected. He did not want it to be resurrected, and he's like, what's going on? And we then got a flashback to what happened, like how he actually died. And how he actually died, there was a war. One of the sects wanted to rule everyone else, and they were like really powerful, and other sects went to war against it. And the main characters basically was forced by circumstances to use a demonic cultivation form of like bad magic, so to say, that he invented himself, like form of it, to win the war. Like he was very integral to winning that war. However, as soon as they won, both politicking of some people who wanted to gain power and also just traditional disdain to this like bad magic, he's ostracized. And while he actually doing right things, he's helping, he does not fall for like what's like everyone else believes who has a power. He in the end is killed, and everyone he protects to is also dies. And he's now resurrected, and he figures out that not everything is resolved, and actually how he got into this situation is also uncovered. So in the end, people who were hating this guy, thinking that he basically a demon, also everyone learns the truth. So it's very intriguing to follow the storyline, but it's also very sad to read. So, and the last one, I like it the most, but also it's a most weird, so I would not maybe recommend it as an entrance if you don't read some other weird stories. The main character is like from our world. He reads this like a story where like there is a main character demon emperor who has like 1,000 wives, and he constantly in stupid situations and gets new wives. So type of story that is very poorly written, and he writes like he hater of the story. He reads it religiously, but he hater, and he chokes and dies while reading the story, and he's transmigrated into put like in the body of the villain of the story. And his goal, actually I'm not remember, I think his goal is to have a better story, because he complains that that's a bad story, but he's a body of a villain, and he cannot actually do a lot of stuff. Like he has a system that punishes him, like if he will not follow certain rules, he will be killed. And the other like main character of that like bad novel is this who will become demon emperor. He's half human, half demon, and the teacher in who main character transmigrated bullied him. So he tries not to bully him and help him, but also he cannot express it properly, and in the end he is forced to throw you in the abyss. And this character, he's not a good guy. He's very obsessive. He's very willing to do like bad stuff. However, because he was shown like a pieces of kindness from his teacher, like new transmigrated guy, he's obsessed with him. He wants to have him. However, he doesn't understand like what, like there is that misunderstanding because he cannot tell because of the system. Like I don't know, it's very hard to explain without a lot of context or a lot of time, but I like that a lot. Two other books that were, I'm not sure which one was following, because I think I finished this faster but started reading this earlier. I think this is one of the other very famous, and might be entrance for many people. Husky and White Cat Shizun. It's 11 volumes long. It's very long and it's very dramatic. Like almost in every volume there is some heart-wrenching stuff. Basically, the guy who turns out to be like grow out to be an evil emperor kills himself and reborn when he was a young student, and he hated his teacher and was sure his teacher hated him, and that his teacher allowed the guy he loved to die. However, when he is reborn, he starts noticing things that maybe some of his memories or understanding of situation is not right. And actually his teacher cares about him. And actually it didn't happen like he thought. And there is like bigger conspiracy behind this. So, to be honest, very interesting to read, but I understand that many people will not enjoy it for one reason. There is a lot of heavy topics. Like abuse, people being killed, tortured. There is at some point mentioned that there are people who have magical energy, so they are like consumed and not believed to be people and turned into elixirs. So it's very heavy stuff, but also it's very long. So, but otherwise it's very good story. So many people love it. If you enjoy stories that make you cry, I know there are people like that, not me, but I think this is a book for you. And you love long stories. This one, 1000 Autumns. Description actually gives me nothing. I did not know. Just the TikToker I was following said that it was her favorite after I read a few others which I really loved. And she said like, I like those, but this is my favorite. And I was like, why I liked it? Basically, there are two main characters who are like from again, there is cultivation in this. Cultivation is kind of like doing exercise and harvesting internal magical power to be able to ascend and become gods, but it's really hard to a few people can do it. Yes, that's very poor description, but if you never heard, for context is enough. He's from this like he's a good guy. After some fight, he is lose his eyesight and his memory. However, he's known in this world, and his life philosophy basically is that you need to do good in this world. And this guy, by the way, very cute, very attractive. He has silver in his hair. Usually, main characters are always these young guys. Here we have more mature. He's well, not evil, it's very simplistic, but he's very selfish. He's a leader of demonic sect, and he believes like his philosophy and his like brilliant strategies, but his philosophy basically is that everyone is selfish by nature. So when he finds this guy, like he lost his memories and so on, he tries to make him in a station where he will acknowledge that he is not that good choice. However, what I really enjoyed, that they did not really change throughout the story. This guy remains like true to his like good philosophy of helping people, despite seeing that it's often not returned. Like he's doing good, and the person he did good to tries to sell him in a slavery. Or this guy, he kind of understands it, but he doesn't turn good. He's still selfish, and he like betrays him for a sword. Like it, you need to read it, but somehow they fall for each other. So again, it's not the fastest relationship, but because their relationships are so different, and there is this idea of like fighting philosophies. I enjoyed this also a lot. Stars of Chaos, to be honest, I have not seen people, that many people who like liked it, or like this is their favorite. I understand, kinda. This is like historical China, but with steampunk. So basically at some point they discovered something like oil, but like special violet gold, and they're able to make machines. They're able to make like armor that is like robots almost, like you wear it. But anyway, so this is a setting which is it reads very much like historical novel, but with something extra, with something interesting. I'm not sure this is not for everyone. I'm sure, but it's more might be a reason why some people don't read it. Another reason is that there is a lot of plot that is like how war is progresses. So it's like some politics behind the war. They're like about everyone is about to lose, how they will turn to it. And there are like a whole, I'm pretty sure whole volumes where the two main characters meet like once and then we follow them separately, and it's much more about that. So if you're like expecting a lot of like fast relationships or seeing a lot of relationship of main characters, this is not what happens. And in others that to be honest, it's okay, but I understand why some people it might. One of the characters in the beginning of the novel, he's like 14, something like that. He lives at cities that is very close to the border, and stuff happens, and he is basically adopted, taken under guardianship of this marquis, who is general, basically of the army, of type of army, and he's actually was poisoned and he's almost blind, but he's still brilliant strategist and brilliant war general. And so the fact that they put into, like, they're not related at all, but there is this like moment where like guy put under like guardianship and basically adopted by a guy by the rule of the emperor. Understand why it can get iffy, but I really like their relationship because the marquis is kind of older, strong, and so on. However, this guy who seems to be the lost emperor's son got obsessed with this marquis, and he also has some sort of illness or poison that he can go mad, like murderly mad at any point. It's very hard to, like, I think the main part, first of all, it can like fatherly relationship can be like I guarantee it's nothing, they're not related at all, and there are no like fatherly relationship. And second of all, there are a lot of war. I understand if you are not interested to read about imaginary war at all, about strategies and so on, yeah, maybe it's not for you. But I don't know, for me it was still interesting. It was very interesting to see like two main characters being extremely smart and cunning and outsmarting. Like there were moments where it's like, it seems like it's impossible to get out of this situation, and they somehow have managed. So, and the ending of fifth volume was so cute, like that one, I even put it on, I have list of things that made me happy, and the ending of this story, volume 5, made me so happy. Next, this will be a long video. This one I have not finished like the whole story. I read 2 or 3 volumes. Is Ballad of Sword and Wine. And first of all, I will have a rant here about people who complain that there are a lot of politics in the book and they are really confused. You don't need to remember every single person. You don't need to remember numbers, or you need to get general vibe that there is something iffy going on with money. Someone might be stealing something. I'm not following, like, I don't trying to remember all politicking and plotting that happens. If you just read it and you understand English, it should be enough to understand the story. So people who complain that it's very hard to understand, I don't understand you. But in this, again, both characters plot a lot. I think this is one of the very attractive traits. If you like reading about very smart characters that plot and somehow always figure out way out of situations, this is for you. As one of the characters, he is the son of a prince who is accused of treason, and at the time, well, it's imaginary past time, but like in historical fiction, the whole in historical China, the whole family was killed, and he was like about to be killed, and he not he but his father, and therefore he is blamed for like death of a lot of warriors, including by this guy, or he somehow survives, and he starts his ascent to power. He starts, I think, working with horses or something, and somehow he ascends through plotting and so on. And in the beginning they're kind of enemies, but also there is immediately hate flirting, and they start like some sort of relationship right away. They do not acknowledge feelings right away, but then they acknowledge and they continue plotting. Basically, their love language is plots and intrigue. So for me, it's like I'm waiting for the whole story to come out so I can binge read it. Ooh, it's tiring. To be honest, once I already read, I have only few, others should be faster. This is unlimited flow danmei, meaning that these are stories where people go through something like game levels, and often there are like horror elements that people can be killed or something like that. In this case, like random people are brought into this like examination. So they are absolutely random people, like there is a pregnant woman, there is like someone, including main character who's snarky, very smart, and so on. And they are brought, like how it starts, they are brought to this small house where they should solve basically something like a riddle, and if they do not guess right, someone is killed. If they do not guess right, someone is killed. And somehow he figures out it without anyone dying. And because he kind of breaks the rules, but not really, there are those who oversee examination, like examinators, and they brought to oversee. And one of the guys is like, he had the best exam scores previously, and he put to oversee this guy because he keeps breaking rules. And in this volume, there is no love happened yet, but they are both snarky, they are both extremely smart, and it's very interesting to follow these things they solve. There is always like danger of death, but and it seems that even if you win, someone will have to die, but often they somehow figure out how to avoid that. And because they do not necessarily follow rules in a way they're supposed to be followed, it's even better. And from what I heard, these two guys are supposed to fall in love, and there is something about losing memories and that they like destined to fall in love with each other. No love happened yet, and it's by publisher that can sell only through few distributors, so it's a bit hard to get. So I'm waiting where like more volumes will come out so I can order a few at a time. Guardian, I actually read it. One of the main reason is because it's 3 volumes. At that time I started reading, all 3 come out, and I wanted to read something together at one time. And this is modern, set in a modern settings. There is like beings from Chinese mythology, like spirits and so on. And this guy is a head of investigation unit. And he's, again, young, smart, snarky. He flirts with people, but he also very competent. And the whole story is like a set of different cases of this investigative unit. But also there is something like bigger going on. And again, I don't want to spoil you, but this professor of university they meet in a first case turns out to be not so straightforward, and basically they're obsessed with each other. We don't see it right away, but that's very cute. Again, I would actually recommend this to everyone. I cannot guarantee, it probably won't be everyone's favorite book, but it's very enjoyable to read, especially if you like detectives. This is 3 volume in the dark by the publisher that no longer exists, so I'm not sure how accessible. But this is basically a detective, modern day detective, except, and again, you follow a set of detective stories, except, you know how in some old telenovelas or something, there is sometimes like signs that it's not how it works, like they will transplant a spine to someone and it's like, medicine cannot do that, or like stuff like that. And that's mainly the reason that at some websites you will see sci-fi. That's the only thing that happened. And basically 2 guys, a detective and someone from a gallery or art professor, I already forgot who he is, they meet and there is immediately some sort of spark, and basically they got together, but the point is not whether they will get together, but are you who you truly think you are? So that's the question. So it's detective-y, a bit dark, with romance again. Very interesting. Golden Terrace, again by publisher, 2 volumes by publishers that no longer exist, but was republished or will be republished by Seven Seas. In this story, the main character is like general of an army, and emperor really afraid that he will gain too much power, and because a lot of power is hereditary in this world, he makes him marry a guy, so he has no children. And the guy is his nemesis. They're constantly arguing and have different political views, and that guy is like following emperor, like he is like underling. However, they kind of enemies, and the general actually at some point he has broken legs or something, so he almost he basically has disability, which, by the way, I heard that it's very good handle of disability in many stories. It's always like magically cured. He's never like magically cured, like he gets better, but very realistic. And while they're nemesis, they start like getting feelings for each other and starting to understand and falling in love. However, they still have their duty to the country. And at first it seems that it will be against their relationship, but they somehow work. And again, both are very smart. Like these two, there are quite a lot of similarities in the fact that, like, they're very different plots, but there are similarities in the way that both characters are like general and some politician, and they both plot for the good of the country, but also for themselves. And if you read one of those, you probably will enjoy another. So now we are moving to stuff I have not read or only reading. I already started this. If I'm not mistaken, it's only 2 volumes. Basically, the guy, he's like rich. He's a producer or feel like he has a lot of money in a young age, and he wants to become a writer. But everything he writes is really bad, and he's told that he needs to observe real people. So he decided to rent out rooms in his basically mansion to some random gay guys. He himself gay, but I still do not understand why he decided that everyone who he will rent out room, and it's in his advertisement, I will rent rooms to gay people. And they all different people, and from what I understand, he will fall in love with one of them, but I'm not sure who. And 5 hot roommates, 0 privacy. But I was enjoying till the moment where we introduced already to all of the characters, because we quickly learned that all these characters, they present themselves as very successful people, but we immediately learned that one doesn't actually have a job, another has a child. Like, there are things, they're actually not in a good financial situation or general, but they keep lying. And I understand that in the next part of the book we will start uncovering this, and I feel secondhand embarrassment in such situations. And also I heard that people were not very happy that there are nothing like 18 plus, because at some point there is very steamy, very kinky situation happens. I have not read to that, but otherwise, like, interesting to read. Again, I don't think it will become my favorite, but it's very cute. And now about stuff I bought but have not read yet. Let's start from easier. My husband and I sleep in a coffin, Peerless by name, and after I already bought it and was ready to read, I learned that the author is very very racist. By the way, in Little Mushroom, I mentioned first, I heard from some internet, I have not find like this information, but if it's something relevant to you, you can research to prove it. They use a racial slur 1 or 2 times. That's edited out. Like, I have not read it. And first of all, I bought before knowing that, and second of all, because it was edited out, and I'm pretty sure it probably was used intended, like, I'm pretty sure it's some sort of a bit of cultural differences, and it's not necessarily means that author is racist. I'm still okay with recommending and reading the book, although you might have a stronger or different opinion. But here it's like unacceptable. Everything I found about this is not only there is a character with darker skin that is constantly referred to in abusive way. So I don't know what to do with this book. Like, do I burn it? I will probably sell it, because money are money. When I will have enough books I want to get rid, I will sell it with all those books. It was very intriguing, and people who read first volume, a lot of them liked it. However, it seems that it starts in volume 2, and at that point volume 2 cannot come out. So maybe additional research is needed, but not something I enjoy. Oh, this one, everyone I saw talking about this, again, from the publisher, that there are like 3 places you can buy from. Nan Chan, everyone who read it loved it. They compared it a bit with Have an Official Blessing. The one I said is a good entry point. However, even better. However, from what I know, it's also extremely sad. Like, it was compared because the guy in Heaven's Official Blessings waited for his god person he loves for 800 years. And here, apparently, he waited even longer, if I'm not mistaken. It's like second-hand information. Do not trust me blindly. And also, yes, 8 worldly suffering. There are a lot of suffering happening in this book. So it's a bit... I want to buy all volumes. I'm supposed to have second somewhere, and I think there should be third first. I want to buy all of them, so if I will have time, I don't need to wait to finish my suffering. How to Survive a Villain. But basically, a premise similar to Scum villain, saving system, but slightly different. Guy transmigrated into the body of the emperor, and the emperor at the time bullies someone who will become very powerful, and then will exact revenge. By the way, very beautiful. And I remember that I started reading some sort of manga which was not finished. I have 2 volumes. There are more volumes. I'm postponing. The problem is sometimes I remember why I bought it, and sometimes I read something I'm very excited about, and then I forget what was that inspiration to read it. Limerence, I bought it again because it was only single volume. However, I recently saw a person reading it and complaining about, first of all, there are quite a lot of typos, like they found 10 or something, and also they said it would work better as a horror novel, thriller novel. I'm not sure, maybe we just have different tastes, so I will still read it because I like gaming stories often, but the fact that the person who inspired me to read some of the answer did not like it. By the way, I also read quite some online in here format. For example, there are copper coins. I read first one in year format and I loved it. I want to buy all 3 volumes and have them. I started reading The Disabled War, God of War Become a Concubine. Kind of similar to Golden Terrace in a premise. I read like a third of first volume so far. I don't know, I'm not that excited. And I started reading Compendium, something Compendium. It's long story, and the reason I started reading it, because it seems to be absurd. It was compared to Riverdale Volume 4, and guys are homophobic but sleep together. Like, it's very absurd, and that's why I don't want to buy it, but I like sometimes hating on books or reading absurd books. And it's fun, but to be honest, I'm enjoying. Joyful Reunion. When I was selecting which books to buy, these were like very highly recommended, but I remember reason for buying only this one, because this sat in the same world as Thousand Autumns, which I enjoyed a lot and cannot anymore find in this. Here it is. So this is the same world and the same author and the same vibe, like different people, different relationships. So that's why I bought it. I enjoyed the author, so I will probably a murdered envoy, a stolen treasure. So this at least I remember why I bought it, and I'm waiting to buy the rest of volumes or have inspiration to start reading. This one of them has very cute found family. I think this is the one. But that's everything I remember about it. I have no idea what romance here, if any romance. The main character where magic flows and powerful Yao. I remember nothing about this, although so many people were excited. And this is by the same author, Joyful Reunion. By the way, I'm pretty sure I bought specifically this too because there was a sale, and I know that some people didn't like it because we started reading when one of the main characters is a child, and they are still children through whole the volume, and many people said like there is no reason for him to be so young. They can start at like few years older. So also don't remember anything about this book. So this is my collection of danmei. I don't know what to add here. It will definitely be growing. The ones I started reading, I will definitely finish reading. Most of those I will be like buying physical books and collecting more, except these two, because I'm not sure what's going on here. I will try reading. If I will really be excited, I will continue buying, but most likely not. So yeah, if you have any recommendations, if I inspired you, let me know.